Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. Thanks for joining us. This is John H. Girardi, DataSelf founder and CEO. Today we're going to be talking about 5 minutes to new sales with analytics. How analytics can help salespeople get more sales out of their opportunities. So this is a different type of webinar. We usually do product-centric webinars. This one is more functionality-centric, more benefit-centric, and it's focused on sales. Most of the things we're going to be talking about here are generic for companies who sell to customers, hopefully most of them. And the one I'm going to be showing, the metrics, are mostly centered around products. But if you sell services and other things to recurring customers, many of these analysis will also work. So let's get started. First of all lines are muted. So if you have questions, please write them down, and at the end of the session we'll open a Q&A so we can address them. So the idea that we want to provide here is show you some kind of critical sales KPIs or key performance indicators that salespeople should be paying attention to. We'll be showing using our own technology, DataSelf Analytics, but if you can build these reports and dashboards using whatever you have, that will work. The point is give you insights into what kind of trends are critical and sometimes overlooked. So I'm going to show about 4 or 5 different queries. I'm going to explain what kind of perspectives they are, how they work, and then at the end of the presentation I'm also going to show with our technology how easily a user, a non-actually build things from scratch and post them to others to consume. So let's go for it. Let's get out of the PowerPoint, which is kind of boring, and go into the KPIs. So first of all, I'm going to be showing the KPIs using DataSelf Analytics, which is a technology that allows people to access their reports and dashboards using desktop, web, and mobile devices. So pretty much everything I'm going to show here, you'd be able to access if you have DataSelf Analytics. Again, even if you are on a coffee shop using a tablet or on a smartphone. So let's say salespeople, they would open their dashboards, and they have a bunch of different dashboards. Let me show some of them that are more critical when you want to try to get more sales. And what we're trying to do here is show things or queries that can give you insights into perspectives that can help you focus on who to call, who to follow up. Sometimes you just go through a list of the CRM, you're calling people on a sequence order, or I haven't called this person for 2 or 3 months, whatever. But the dashboard I'm going to show, sometimes they may show you perspectives that you should be calling more frequently, more often. What should you call today? So that's kind of the idea. The first dashboard I want to show is not so insightful. It's just to set the stage so you can understand the mechanics of how you can read information. This is a very simple dashboard that shows top customer by sales this year to date. And I have the bars showing sales. In the color of the bars, and these are my customers. So these are my top customer by sales, bigger bars, bigger sales this year to date. The color of the bars are represented by the gross profit. So red is not so profitable, green is on goal. And I also have these black dots that have that represent gross profit from this other axis. So not so insightful. I would say most people know who their top customers are. They're tracking profitability. It's not a big deal. But this kind of dashboard, the cool thing is once you understand what the bars represent, the colors and the dots, it becomes very easy for you next time that you open this dashboard. It's going to take you seconds to figure out which clients may be problematic. If you have a quota of having a minimum profitability, you could tell right away that some of these top customers, they are very low in profitability, and maybe you have to work more closely to increase the profitability. Anyhow, this is just kind of to set the stage. Now, let me start talking about the critical KPIs, sales KPIs, that many people don't pay attention to, but they should. especially if you have recurring customers in this example. This query that I'm showing, it looks at the tip of the growth curve of a sales metric or any metric for that regard. And usually the tip of the growth curve is important for any businesses. You know, you may be looking at sales growth, profitability growth, quantity shipped, or maybe if you're looking at expenses, whatever you're looking at, the tip of the growth is usually very important. On the sales side, this report is showing the top customers by sales change since last year to date. So these customers here, you know, this axis shows sales increase if it's positive and decrease if it's negative. So these customers, they are growing the most in sales since last year to date. Likely happy customers, salespeople are working with them closely, maybe it's not so critical for this perspective. However, these customers, they have the biggest sales decline since last year to date. Maybe it's seasonal, maybe it's okay, but maybe it's not. Maybe some of these customers have major decline because they're not happy, because competition knocking on the door, maybe because your company is not doing a very good job. And if you don't work with them closely to address those issues, you may lose them for good. So looking at the tip of the growth curve, especially from a sales change standpoint, let's say by customer, by territory, by whatever it is usually critical. And we have many of these reports available out of the box, looking from, you know, year-to-date perspective, quarter-to-date, in different time buckets. One of the things we also try to do here is some salespeople, they're good looking at charts. So this chart is very informative. But some people, they're not good with charts. They want to see numbers by the penny. So usually we try to blend, you know, the dashboards where you have the chart and the grid, because some people work better with one or the other. So having both approaches together is usually very informative for different type of people. So this is one of the key performance indicators that, you know, we recommend that your company should be track of from a sales standpoint if you have recurring customers. Another very critical dashboard is a little bit more elaborate. I'm going to spend a little bit more time, but this can also be critical. Let's say if you sell products, you know, lots of products, often the top products, you know, are the most important ones. So this dashboard at the very top, it just shows my top products by sales this year to date. So here I have my top 15 products, sales this year to date, sorted descending, how much I sold last year, the totals, and the same information I have for, you know, this year to date, showing the chart. So again, visually, I can see the numbers, I can see the chart, and just have an idea what my top products are if I don't recall them. And this can be changing on an ongoing basis. Okay, very cool. So the top is just showing me top customers. Now the bottom section of this dashboard is where the meat is where you may find who to call, what's going on, where you should put your effort as far as sales. And the idea is looking, you know, declining year-to-date sales for my top products. So let me go back here and show this and focus on this area. So this area, let's start looking at the left side. I have my top products. So here on the left, I have my top products, all of them, my top 15 products listed. But then this section shows me customers that were buying these top products last year, and they're buying this year as well. However, it's declining. So it's declining a lot. By how much? By this, you know, the minimum yearly decline right now is $100,000. So this report is showing among my top products, customers who were buying a lot last year, but now they're buying less, a lot less, $100,000 less in sales since last year's date. So it's a major decline. Why these customers are no longer buying as much of my top products? That's the question. And you can very easily come here and say, no, hey, I want to only look at, you know, top decline by $250,000. That's it. These are the customers who are no longer buying for each one of the products by more than $250,000 in sales decline. It's a very interesting insight. Now, we can do, on this other side, we have just reversed the order. these are the customers that were buying the top products last year a lot, but this year they're buying less than by this quantity here. So this dashboard focuses on top products with the major sales decline since last year to date, in which customers are no longer buying as much. And sometimes it's because, the customer is not doing proper promotion, is not putting your product in the right place of the shelf. Something is happening. Why they're declining so much? If these are your top products, something is wrong. And sometimes if you work closely with the client, if you visit them, if you talk with them, you can figure out what's wrong with it. Maybe they're promoting competing product. Maybe you have to work with them. The point is, your top products, you have to be sure you're not having top sales decline with customers. And this is another kind of, major key performance indicator that we have available out of the box. But again, if you build this dashboard, this report, using whatever technology you can, will be helpful to have you insights and keep track of your sales and improve them. So the point is, you look at this dashboard, and hopefully every time you look at this dashboard, hopefully you're going to find no major issues, but if you do, it will help you call the right people right away and help you tackle more sales right away. That's the idea of this main KPIs. The next main KPI is called exception reporting. In exception reporting is also very critical looking at KPIs because it shows you transactions that are no longer happening. Let's see an example that is going to be very informative. This dashboard here is showing regular customers that have no sales in the last 30 days. So in this example, I have a list of customers that in the last 90 days were buying, but not in the last 30 days. It may be okay, it may be seasonal, but maybe some of these customers, it's not. Again, it's some problem. Competition is knocking the door. They're not happy. They don't want to buy anymore. And if you don't fix the problem in a timely fashion, you may lose them for good. So again, looking at transactions that are no longer happening, in this case, regular customers who are no longer buying, can be critical. And we recommend you to keep track of those things on a regular fashion. This kind of dashboard in our technology is kind of very interesting. Right now what I'm showing is a dashboard that shows all customers across all territory. Now, if I were, let's say, only the California rep, when I open this dashboard, the tool would automatically only show California. It would not show anything else. So I would open this dashboard. It would not show, not even this, grayed out bubbles because I'm not allowed to see them. It would only show my own customers who had sales in the last 90 days, but not in the last 30 days. Let me show a smaller data set here. So in this case, if I'm from British Columbia, in this case, these would be my customers who were buying last 90 days, but not in the last 30 days. Now, in our solution out of the box, we also have this kind of, exception reporting from different time buckets. Maybe in your business the last 30 days is nothing. People usually, buy every quarter, maybe every half a year, or maybe a year, or maybe it takes years for them to buy again. So we have dashboards like this one. In this case, we're looking at customers with no sales in the last 30 days versus 60 days, or the last 2 months versus the last 6 months, or the last year versus the last 3 years, or the last 2 years versus the last 5 years. Wherever it is, we can change these buckets to reflect how your business operates and what kind of metric you're going to keep on following. And then you just open the dashboard anytime, anywhere with a mobile device, and you see what clients to call. So that's another important type of reporting, exception reporting. They usually have customers that you should be calling. It most likely get some more sales today, and not maybe, when you call again, let's say in 2 months, it's too late. The guy already left for good. I'm going to show now another dashboard that is just kind of, it's not as critical from a call right away, but when you're looking overall trends, sometimes looking at moving windows, sometimes people look at, year-to-date sales, quarter-to-date sales, month-to-date sales, or sales this year versus, sales this month or this quarter versus the same quarter last year. We cover all of those kind of time buckets easily in our out-of-the-box solution, but sometimes you should also look at moving windows, the last 12 months comparing to the prior 12-month moving window. In this dashboard, just kind of shows the idea. So in this example, I have the timeline here. I have in my sample database 3 years worth of data, and I'm looking at from 1 year starting in October 26, 2012, all the way to 2013, and I have here sales growing, and it's segmented by customer type, the different colors. And and I also have here quantity shift. It's kind of different dashboards just showing all the different pieces. The cool thing is if you want to see how things are evolving, the moving window over time, you can change this slider, and then you see how things are growing as a moving window standpoint. And sometimes when you're analyzing your business, looking at moving windows, moving year, moving quarter, moving month, moving weeks versus the prior ones can be critical. And we have many ways to analyze that anytime, anywhere. Now, these are some of the key performance indicators from a sales standpoint. Let me show you, and again, you can build these insights using probably any reporting tool. One of the benefits we provide is more out of the box. We have thousands of reports and dashboards available out of the box, kind of plug and play, so you don't need to build them. But let me show you how easy it is to build one of these dashboards from scratch using our solution. So I'm going to switch now to our desktop client, which is the most powerful ad hoc tool. I don't want to teach you. I just want to show you that in about 2 minutes, I can build an impressive dashboard from scratch. And I do not need to be an IT person. I do not need to spend hours and hours and hours of training. We actually have many of our clients, the CEO of the company, the president, the CFO, VP of sales, salespeople, sales managers. They are doing what I'm going to show in the next few minutes, which is just building from scratch things. You have a question, you want to call, you need to figure out what the answer is. You don't have a report ready, you don't need to call anyone. You can just do it. On our technology, more than 70% of the custom reporting needs of the average user, they can do it. So let me show you that. I'm not going to be explaining how to do it. I just want to show you that in about 2 minutes, I'm going to build an impressive dashboard from scratch. And what I want to have in this dashboard is I want to see sales by month. I want to, in my sample database, I have a multi-company, so I have several ERP databases that I want to see sales by each company. I also have in my sample database sales coming from the ERP system and CRM information combined. In this particular example, I have, let's say sales amount, which comes from the ERP package, and I have a number of meetings coming from my CRM system. And in my sample database, my sales is usually somehow related to my number of meetings. The more meetings that I have with prospects and clients, the more the sales that I have. So I want to plot this on a dashboard. And I also want to see sales by geography. I want to see sales. I want to see states, how big the sales are. And in my analysis, also in my business, how big the deal sizes are is important. So when I get all of this information, sales, number of meetings, sales by state, and size of the deal all in the dashboard. And I'm just going to take the next 2 minutes to just make it happen. And I'm going to show how cool and how easy that is. So let's get started. So I want to see sales. Let's start with that. I drop it into my rows. I want to see by month. I drop it to my columns. So there it is. I want to break down by company. So I put company on the column, for instance. And there it is. I have sales by company. But let me change the look and feel a little bit. I want to see this approach, which sometimes is more informative. I also want to see number of meetings. So let's put in my dashboard. So I have now sales amount, number of meetings. But Let me differentiate the two of them so I don't get confused. Again, the idea is to make something simple that when you look at this dashboard, you know this approach is sales, this is a number of meetings. Okay, I like the first one. Second one, I want to see sales by territory. So I'm going to choose state. I also want to see the deal size, how large the invoices are in sales amount. So I just selected those three components. And now I'm going to, let me change my GoToMeeting panel is right in front of my, there we go. And then I want to see my mapping capabilities. So there it is, I have on a map. I want to make the bubbles a little bigger. There we go, I like those bubbles. And I want to slice this by date so I can see how the bubbles are growing over the years. Very cool, I like this one as well. I'm going to duplicate this, and I just want to see the numbers. You know, remember, some people, they're not very good with charts. They like to see numbers. So let me just put some information, oopsie, as numbers. All right, I don't want to see the country. Beautiful. So I just built those three independent queries. Now I want to build a dashboard. And let me put all of this like for iPad, because my salespeople are iPad crazy people. They love it. Let's put on the bottom the grid, and on the right here that little chart. Beautiful. Look at that. You know, it takes me literally a minute or so to build this dashboard from scratch, and it's ready. I just built a dashboard that shows me here on the top. When I look at this, I have sales by state, bigger bubbles, bigger sales, and then each bubble is sliced by different colors, which are the aggregation of the deal size. I can here change, you know, the time and see how things are going over time, so growing or declining. Or if I choose things here, it automatically filters the dashboard. Awesome. I mean, literally, it took me a minute and a half to build this dashboard from scratch. And now if I want to share with people, I come here, server, publish workbook, and I say I don't want to publish this, you know, sheets, only the dashboard. I publish it, and voila. It goes to the website, and now if I have salespeople that are in my intranet or even in the field, I tell them, hey, just refresh your dashboard. And what dashboard did I call? I called dashboard 1. So there it is, dashboard 1. We click on it, and I could be on my iPad using my fingers, and now I just go crazy, and I select things here, and the whole dashboard changes. I mean, building things and changing things on the fly with DataSelf Analytics is really intuitive. It's designed for business people. It's very interactive. And again, we can let people of pretty much any skill level to do these things, change, and go crazy. So I think you found this informative. I'm going to open the Q&A session. If you have questions, please use the go to webinar panel. Let me see here if we have questions. We have some questions. So first question is from Bill. Thank you, Bill. What ERP versions are supported? What ERP versions? I think you're asking, Bill, what ERP packages we support. So if you go to our website, dataself.com, and you go to Analytics by Product, these are the ERP and CRM packages that we support out of the box. And if you have one of them, we have thousands of reports and KPIs available out of the box. For sales, if you combine sales analysis, sales order analysis, and opportunity management analysis, those three modules combined, we have about 3,000 reports and dashboards and KPIs available out of the box. So it's pretty comprehensive. Bill, I hope I have answer your question. Let's see more questions here. The other question here is from Mary. Thank you, Mary. How do you compare against Sage Intelligence? Mary, thank you for your question. How I compare against Sage Intelligence? Let me show you here my slide. This slide here, I think, will be informative. The technology we use is actually we use Tableau and Microsoft as technology. This slide here has Gartner Magic Quadrant. Gartner is one of the most reputable companies doing technology assessment for Fortune 2000 companies. And the vision of our company, you know, when I founded this company, my vision was I want to find in the Fortune 2000 market analytics and BI technology that are great, they're easy to use, and that I can make it easier and better for mid-sized companies. That was the vision of the company. And about 3 years ago, we incorporated Tableau and Microsoft. In going back to the Gartner Magic Quadrant, in the Gartner Magic Quadrant, the more to the right you are here, the better you are for Fortune 2000 companies. So it's not such a big deal to be more to the right. However, the higher you are on this axis, the better your technology is, the more value you're delivering to your clients. Tableau right now is considered in the Fortune 2000 world the king of the hill when it comes to analytics and data visualization. And Microsoft is considered the best BI infrastructure technology company. What we do, DataSelf, you know, it goes back to my vision. We took Tableau, which right now is the best from a visualization standpoint, analytics. We took Microsoft BI, which is the best infrastructure. We added our own technology to simplify those two, so you don't need to know much programming at all. It's so much easier. And we amplify it. We add more than 2,000 reports, dashboards, and KPIs out of the box. So that's what we do. When you look at, you know, Sage intelligence offerings, they have two. You know, one is from a company that was an OEM, and now it's acquired from South Africa. And another one is from France. Both of those vendors, they're not Fortune 2000 players, so they don't even show here in the Gartner Magic Quadrant BI. They're very good offerings, definitely, but they're not as well-refined, as easy to use, as scalable, as powerful as, you know, the top two which we're using. So they are a great offering. You know, we call them the Beamer, the Mercedes, the Porsches of BI. You know, great pricing, great technology. We're more like a Ferrari. We're much faster, much flashier, easier. However, our pricing is not by far a Ferrari. You can actually start our solution literally with the equivalent of hundreds of dollars per month. So our pricing is really designed for mid-sized companies. Well, folks, we are running out of time. Before I leave, let me go back here and talk about the promotion, talk about Ferraris. Right now we have a promotion. If you follow us on, you know, Twitter, on LinkedIn, you're going to be getting drawing tickets, and in early July, we're going to be drawing these tickets, and whoever wins, we're going to bring you guys to race a real Ferrari. So I encourage you to, you know, follow us on Twitter, follow us on LinkedIn, engage with our social media, buy from us. The more you interact with us, the more tickets, and hopefully you'll be joining us to draw a Ferrari. And by the way, because you're attending this webinar today, you're going to get one drawing ticket. So I really appreciate it. Let me go to the last slide. Thank you for joining us. I hope you found it informative. And I would really appreciate if you give us some feedback. You know, this is the first time we do a webinar focused on just KPIs and how they can help improve your business. If you share some thoughts, you know, did you find it valuable or not so much, let us know. We want to make it better, and we're going to have more of this moving forward. Thank you for joining us. Have a great Thursday, and enjoy your summer. Thank you.